And we're live. Hi.
Hello.
So I'm here with Jack and we're doing a live later. So we decided let's do our makeup and chat shit.
I like it. That is
So I'm going to do Pride Eyes. I'm going to attempt at that. So
that's fantastic. So I'm still in the baby stages of learning how doing certain makeup and everything like that. I've been getting better, and I'm gonna try and do something really bold. And I could either end up looking really like I could go out this afternoon and have a good time, or look like I should go on RuPaul. And either one's fine, but we're gonna hope I get one of those. So I don't want to say it's gonna be terrible because I don't want to even have that be an option. We'll just we'll just keep those as our two options.
well, I
All right.
haven't done Pride Eyes for a year and I haven't done makeup on camera since December last year.
Oh man.
So it feels all new again to me.
Okay. Well, thank you
So
for having me. I am really really excited.
I'm glad you came on. I'm using my favourite palette, which is amazing. Like, the colours on this is just like, yes. So what shit should we talk about that we're not going to talk about on the show so it doesn't give anything away?
Okay. Let's see. Well, I gotta ask. So, as far as makeup is concerned, do you have any particular? Because I want makeup tips, and I'll tell you what. That's something I don't think we should spend too long on the show. But anyone here who wants to know what things, because if you're getting one thing, I will say, getting into this and trying to do this, it's nice having a lot of different, because everyone has their own. This is something that, like, it's an art form, and everyone
Mm-hmm.
has their own thing they talk about. That they say is the best one, or you have to buy this or you have to use that. I get advice from this person who'll say, like, use this eye pencil or use this thing, don't use that thing. So, from learning from experience. So I'm gonna interview you right now. What is your suggestions
What are
for
my favourites?
yeah.
I think, like, I've watched a hell of a lot of YouTube makeup videos because I did makeup like years ago. In my town, there was a rock pub, and that
Mm-hmm.
basically became my home for like at least 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave me a reason to do makeup and go out. And then that shut down. And then we all used to go like proper, like, glam dressed up. And
Mm-hmm.
the other pubs we went to, it wasn't quite the same. And I kind of lost my zest for doing really bold makeup, and I'd only do it on like birthdays and New Year's Eve. And then, like, my eyes just got like more and more hooded as I got older, and I
Mm.
found my old techniques didn't work. So I just kind of gave up on makeup for a while, and then I started watching someone called Makeup Missa on YouTube, and she just does like bold colours, and I was like, oh wow, and she inspired me to go back into looking into makeup. But then it's finding people who have the same shape eyes, the same
Mm. I didn't think about
skin
that.
texture, the same skin colour. So
Mm-hmm.
it takes a while to kind of find your good people.
Mm-hmm.
But I've learnt lessons throughout the years not to be compulsive and just think, oh wow, that worked really well on them, so it's going to work well on me. And then I found out if I went to my Boots local chemist, they would give you samples of foundations.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got really bad acne scars from when I was younger, and every foundation just settles into it. And I tried about 30 different foundations, and I found about 3 that actually worked for me. And my favourite at the moment is MAC Face and Body,
Okay.
because I've got rosacea. I don't like foundation to be really thick and cover up my skin, but I
Right.
want to even out my skin tone. And it's quite thin, but then, like, you put it on and you pat it around, it's best with your fingers, and then it gets this like stickiness, and then, like, you pat it and then you're like, whoa, and your skin just looks like transformed but not covered.
That sounds amazing. So one thing, like right now, even if you notice, I've got furrow lines in my forehead, and
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
they clock me a lot, because it's like, okay, yeah, that, so I'll try and do something like I'll try and sweep my hair in front of my face and everything like that, just to cover them. And then so one thing that I am, I want to find a good foundation, that's one thing, but I heard, because I follow this a trans woman named Juliet Noir. Actually, she's from the UK as well, and
Okay.
she's amazing, because one of the things she talks about is like trying to, especially if you have a very masculine jawline or this or that, what
Right, yeah.
things work specifically for that. And so that was really neat. But I know she had a foundation. I can't remember what the name of it was right now, but the Mac sounds familiar. And
Well,
yeah,
I'd wanted to try it for years, but it was really expensive. And then, I don't know if you have it there, we have Klarna, where you can pay for things monthly, no interest. And I kept looking at videos, people using Mac Face and Body, and I just thought, do you know what, I'm going to order it. But I'm really pale, like I've got fake tan on at the moment, so I look darker, but I'm really yellow at the same time. I'm really olive toned, so it's really hard to get colour. So I always have to buy 2 foundations and mix them, so then it's always like double the price. So yeah, I eventually ordered some with Klarna, and I was so glad that I did.
Yeah, I do so one thing that I was told, and it does work. I have my base tone, and then you're gonna see I do a lighter one, because I have to make sure everything is that everything looks.
Well, you're looking like you've got a good match.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Which a lot of like well-known makeup artists are well known for not having good foundation matches. But it's hard because everything goes like orange or bright pink on me, so it's hard to find my right skin tone. Just like everything else is awkward about me. It's just like nothing's easy.
It's an art. It's got a challenge, right?
Yeah. So how long roughly have you been delving into makeup?
So I've been doing this for about a month and a half now, maybe 2 months. But I mean, even before this, I was an actor. So, I mean, doing things like making sure I was, the camera didn't shine off, the lights in front of the camera didn't shine off my head, or I had to look 16 for an entire summer when I was in my mid, almost 30, for a live show I was doing. I was the first amusement park in the United States is one called Knott's Berry Farm, and they have this old, like 1800s ghost town there, and it's like you can see this whole thing with it and all that. And what they did for one summer was they actually made all the people in it come to life. So they had like actors pretending they were living a day in the 1800s with like a shootout, a bank robbery, and like a voting thing, and there was a dance at the end. It's amazing. They do it every year, and I was part of the first. I was part of the first cast that started that whole process. It was a lot of fun, and I had to play this like 16-year-old. I can't remember what they're called, but the assistant to a scalper, a snake oil salesman. We'd roll into town on our wagon, and there'd be a salesman, and I'd be his like goofy assistant, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
So tell us what you used to look 16, please.
So what I did was every day, I don't think there was a day I went by without shaving. And so I got really, really good at making sure I can get rid of my facial hair. And so that's been easier, because I've that's one thing that literally is on the thing when you're talking about going and trying to transition, doing makeup and everything like that is, well, how do I deal with the fact that I've got a 5 o'clock shadow, and I'm trying to remember that I am going to order that thing, because Juliet talks about there's this amazing thing that can completely cover that shadow. And
Right.
I'm like, I don't believe it. I'll believe it when I see it, but I can at least get it down enough where it's not unusual. It doesn't look it doesn't look not normal. So I think at least I have it there a little bit, and I'll put like a little bit of the lighter in the bottom too. But the other thing I did was I actually started growing my hair out. So I had my Doctor Who bouffant for a long time because I used to cosplay as the Doctor, which I
You
have
really looked like him as well. I saw the pictures and I was like, wow.
So I have to do something because you know, and I hope this is okay. But there's something I have to ask you for, and that's it's one thing to have people tell me my accent was good, you know, but it's a different thing to have somebody from England who tells me that that the accent is okay. So if it's all right, I'd like to do my Doctor Who accent for you.
Okay, I've never watched Doctor Who. But,
okay. But at least my English accent and everything,
okay.
and see if it works for you. So all right, so because I haven't done it in a long time, but all right, let me see if I can get into character. Hello, I'm the Doctor. You know, I'm 904 years old. You know, and the thing about David Tennant's accent, though, as a Doctor, is he doesn't have a very good British accent either, because he's actually from Scotland. I think he's from Edinburgh.
Right.
And so what I had to do to learn his accent is actually to learn an Edinburgh accent first. And then once I had his Edinburgh accent, I could then switch it over. And so it just, if that works, you know, then you can kind of, you can learn anything. But everyone who asks me like how I do the David Tennant accent, I say don't do his accent as a Doctor. Do his accent as himself first, and then from there, then you can switch over and then do his gritty, you know, I'm gonna save the universe thing, you know.
That's cool. Yeah, definitely a good job there.
Thank you. That was a fun thing to play. It was so neat to see Anglophilia, I should say Anglophilia, return to America the way it did when Doctor Who was a thing. Because so I'm a very big Gilbert and Sullivan fan. I'm part of a group with that and everything like that. Gilbert and Sullivan actually helped me leave my cult. And because I love musical theater and I love opera, and I'm trained in singing and everything like that. I mean, you know, that was one thing I was allowed to do in the cult, right? We could sing. That's the one artistic expression you can have. So I went gung ho with it. And one of the most interesting things actually is if you start looking at the music that was in our Kingdom Melodies book and everything, it's all just Gilbert and Sullivan ripoffs.
Really?
Yeah. It's like they just took the ideas and the meters of it or the melodies and then just slightly changed them, and they just basically stole from all of Gilbert and Sullivan. I'm obsessed with it. I actually worked on one of the things I did while I was still in the cult was I worked on a show about the lives of Gilbert and Sullivan if they were high school students. And so we took their music and then changed it around. We did this whole thing with it, and it was really cool because we had and I guess I should have known then I was already interested in doing makeup and everything like that, because one thing I insisted on was that the principal, Queen Victoria, was Principal Victoria. I wanted her to be played by a man as this idea of being very much this, like, she is the quintessential Monty Python, that humorous, style of this is my, this, and it was neat because she's not necessarily the villain of the show, because there's no villains in Gilbert and Sullivan shows. There's no such thing as a villain. There's just everyone's flawed and everyone comes together in the end and they find a solution when they can't, for, with all the topsy-turviness of it. But I don't know. It was a lot of fun. It was a really, really cool experience, and just I love our histories, and I think our histories teach us so much about what where we've already been and what we've already done, more so than even like what we've been doing lately, like what things we've currently finally accomplished and all that. But anyways, I'm rambling.
But it's cool though, because like when you think about the fact we're literally making history for somebody else every day, and it's like, you know,
I love that.
because when people say, "Oh, we can't change the past," I'm like, no, but we can change somebody else's history, and that's our future and their history. So
I like that a lot.
And to be honest, like, a lot has changed the past few years. Like, I love the fact that people have started standing up and going, no, we're not fucking standing for that shit anymore. And, you know, started to make a noise about a lot of stuff. You know, from the Black Lives Matter to this whole, you know, reporting your past abusers and, you know, so many things that have changed, and it's just like amazing progress that we've made in the past few years, I think, anyway.
I absolutely agree. I mean, doing this right now, and I think part of it is actually the global effect of it, right? It's not, you can't say, oh, well, that's just isolated to this area, or, well, that's an American problem, or that's a UK problem, or that's just something that happens in Japan or in China or whatever. And I mean, you hear that a lot, right? When you can isolate an issue, or when you can force it to be smaller, you can insult those people, and you can just make it about that they're the problem, you know, that it's just it's an isolated incident among a group of degenerates. But when it's literally the entire world, you can't do that anymore. You can't say, oh, well, this is I could never see that being something that would happen here in America, you know, in America. And it's like, oh, well, guess what? It is. And we're here, you know.
It's an excuse.
Yeah.
It's an excuse for people that don't want to admit it and don't want to deal with it. Like the amount of people that tell me we don't have a racism problem in the UK. Yes, we fucking do.
Yeah.
And most of the people who say that are proving by their comments that we do. And it's just because they don't want to face up to it and, you know, have to do anything about it.
I'm going to talk about this a little during the education part, because one thing that's there's a huge crossover, and I think that educating older generations about that idea of is to use something in relationship to what with that. Because like, so in America, we had this thing called the Little Rock Nine. This was an incident in our history where the first Black children who got to go to school in Arkansas, and there was people yelling at them and trying to kick them out of school. And I actually I'm gonna have this whole story for this thing, because what it ended up doing was, because they had to apologize, I want to let parents know, don't make your kids be the kids who have to apologize down the road to the people that they bullied or never helped.
Yeah.
And that's huge. Like your kids will have to apologize to the kids that they bullied or never helped if you don't give them the opportunity to progress now while you're seeing progression happening. You can't stop it. It's progression. It's happening. We're here. We're queer. Get over it, right? It's here. So if you stop that, then you're the people who hurt those people. You're the people, because even if you did nothing, you still hurt them. There's a dad on TikTok who talks about when one of his kids pushes his other kid, all the kids get in trouble because the kid who pushed gets in trouble for pushing. And the kid who didn't help the kid who got pushed also gets in trouble for not helping. And that's huge. Like teaching your kids, oh, if you do nothing, you're also guilty. Not of the same crime, but you are guilty. That is like, and he talks about like, that's the idea of racism in this country. Like there it is. That we're guilty by doing nothing, by not talking about it, by not being willing to look at it, by trying to escape from it or deny it or anything like that. It's you know, what are you doing to help is.
And I don't understand people that want to bring their kids up that way. It's like, why? It's just, I can't comprehend it. Like, why would you want to bring your kids up to just stand by and not do nothing or be racist themselves?
Well, I mean, growing up how we did, I do understand it on a cognizant level. Like, I don't get it. I get what you're saying. I don't get it. But I do get it, like, as far as, like, trying to have this identity of, well, I have this philosophy and I have this identity and I have something that means a lot to me in my history or my identity. And does that matter at all? And it's like, unfortunately, when we watch culture shift, if you don't shift, which we live in a society and we live in a culture. So if you don't shift with it, what you're doing is you're delegitimizing the opportunity for your children to grow up and advance. You're holding them back. So no, they'll never get the same youth you did. That you just can't. I'm glad you enjoyed your youth. We're not talking about like, we're not saying that you were wrong for living the way you did when you were a child. We're just saying, no, they can't live the same way, because otherwise they are going to then perpetuate a negative stereotypes, perpetuate things that are changing right now. And, everyone wants to see their children or their grandchildren or anything happy. And I think being told, well, this isn't helping them is kind of painful. It hurts. And I have a lot of empathy for that. At the same time, it's kind of like, at the end of the day, I'm sorry. It's the way it is, it's how the world is changing. So I don't know.
I just realized, sorry.
Oh, no, good.
Did I tell you about the comments?
No,
so if you click on comments, I don't know what device you're on, it'll be at the bottom or down the side. So hello Courtney, hello Angela. So on comments you can see where people are commenting and watching us, and then where it says private chat, that's just me and you if you need to say anything to me. I just realised cool. I didn't tell
Courtney.
You about that.
Hi Angela.
I told you I'm out of practice, like not doing this for weeks, so I'm just like forgetting things that are just the normal things I tell people.
Courtney has actually been a big support for me. My partner Gabby and Courtney have been like two people who've just been amazingly here for him. So I'm glad you're here. And then Angela, thank you for being supportive. Angela, you're awesome. Thank you for being here and being willing to see me. That's an amazing thing, just to be seen, just to want people to say, oh, you're okay. I'm not put off by you, or you're not hurting me by being yourself. That means a lot to me.
Angela's a good supporter. She's always watched since the glass table. She's always watched the lives and watched my lives. So. Thank you, Angela. I'm trying to get my stripes equal. They're probably not equal, but hello, Anthony.
Well,
that's my best mate and next door neighbour.
They only have to be equitable. They don't have to be equal. That's.
Well, when the hardest thing is, because I've got no eyebrows because I plucked them really badly in the 90s and they never grew back. I've got this thin line.
No.
So when people say oh, they should be sisters, not twins, I'm like, well, mine are fighting cousins. And mine are always so unequal.
That's wonderful. Okay, this is the first time I'm trying a shadow eye. I'm trying to do a really smoky eye. So either I'm gonna look like I got pushed down the stairs, or we're gonna see. We're gonna hope this works out good.
That's the thing about doing it live, isn't it? Because if you fuck up, you fuck up, and it's just like, wow, there you go.
Yeah. So far, so good. Okay, this is the part where I'm going to get really hyper-focused.
I remember my brother when he used to come and watch me do makeup when I was little, and he'd be like, why are you putting those faces when you put your mascara on? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it's just what happens.
Right. The next 10 minutes, everyone who's watching, is just me making really intense faces at the...
And then sometimes I've watched our old makeup logs back just to see how it looks on camera, and I'm like, oh my God, that face is not good. By the way, if I disappear off screen at any point, don't panic, because I'm using my Surface Pro, right, which I paid over £400 for. And it has this habit where the battery goes down really quick, and then if I plug it in while I'm using it, it overheats and turns off, and I'm just like, what?
Oh no!
So it's quite annoying, especially trying to use it in the summer. I'll be doing a makeup show on the glass table, and it like beat me off about 3 times. And I'm just like, oh my god.
And of course, you're too nice to put all this content behind a paywall, right? That's
Had my face shut down for a bit, and now I'm happy I'll turn it back on to see if it's just awesome all night. Okay, you'll come up as Facebook user. So you have to give StreamYard. There should be a link to click on, permission to share your name. It normally happens if you're in a closed group. So thank you for your comment, but I don't know who you are. Feel free to turn it.
Let's see. Let's see. Oh, I hate doing my right eye. Okay, here we go.
One eye. I always do a completely different angle on one eye. Yes, Mike, if that was you commented earlier, I can see your name now.
Did everyone get booted?
Yeah, you popped off for a second there. Sometimes you don't realise how long makeup takes as well, and then like an hour later you're like, oh my god, that took forever.
Right. What time is it now? Oh, okay, we're good. We're good still. So thankfully, with my job, I've been able to start timing like exactly how much time I need, because I once woke up super early to do it, and I was like, okay, I don't need that much time.
But then sometimes I'm thinking like, oh, I've got ages, and then the time is just flying by.
I know I shouldn't get overtly confident about it. I've only been doing it for a couple months, so I haven't had too many experiences where I'm like, oh no, I gotta be at this place at this time and all that. Yeah, I'm still a baby.
Have you had the experience of spending ages doing your makeup, putting mascara on, then sneezing?
I have not.
That's the worst.
I will keep that in mind.
Or I'll paint myself in the eye. I did that on a live once. Paint myself in the eye with mascara, and then your eyes start running, and you're just like, oh my god.
And then it's running and everything else.
Yeah.
I have like a dummy. I went to go take the stuff out, and I don't know why I did this, but I had the baby oil and everything. I was getting it all. I was putting it on my eyes and everything, and then I opened my eyes. I was like, why did I do? Because normally when I'm washing my face, I'm just like, okay, I washed my face and it's not. But then I had all this makeup running, and I opened my eyes like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? That was bad. I gotta. So.
Why do we do these things?
I don't know. It's art. It's beautiful. I can't figure out a tattoo to get. And for me, I think it's just a little. I want piercings though. I want that. I want to do like ear piercings, and I want to have one in my nose. But I cannot figure out if I want to do a tattoo. And I realized to myself, I was like, you know what? Honestly, I think just my personality, and I have a lot of respect. I love tattoos. Anyone who has them, I'm like, oh, they're beautiful. I love them. But personally, for me, I think I like the temporary nature of everything. I like being able to switch. That's just the like one thing that happened with me actually, and I'll talk about this during our thing too, was going the entire path down whether or not I wanted to be fully trans or whether or not I wanted to be gender fluid, because I didn't have the word gender fluid. So it was like, I just thought, got it from this to this, got to go, you got to do one or the other. That's all there is. And going down that whole path and trying to figure things out and decide a level of permanency. Like I think if I had started earlier and I had gone into that and been younger and decided that, it would have been easy. It would have been like, okay, that's where I'm at. But spending so many years being one way and then trying to just go, okay, now you're going to completely be something else, and that person you've been for this entire time is gone. That was a little too intense. It was a little too.
I can imagine. Hi, Amy. I had a friend who was wanting to transition, and he went to the doctors and he looked into it all, but they said he would have to take hormones for about 2 years, and he was like, I want things removed, I want to go through with it now, and they wouldn't let him. They said you've got to dress like a female for a certain amount of time first. And then he met someone who wasn't that keen on him transitioning, so he went back to living as a male.
Mm-hmm.
And just he's still male now, so it's just okay.
I wonder if not to push. I don't want to push my religion, but I wonder if fluidity or just being or the non-binary might work for him too, because it sounds like it's not about the clothes. Which if you look at a lot of I personally like to have. I like the I went and got some cute things and did all that and everything, and I like the femme identity. But you'll see there's a whole spectrum of people, especially you'll get all the way to the drag community who's just like, I want to wear sparkly sequins and all that, and I'm like, you go, girl, that's awesome. But for me, I like subtlety. After I'm done with my makeup, I've just got a blouse and my jacket, and that's enough for me. That's good enough to kind of do, or even like a t-shirt or whatever. But I know that a lot of it has to do with how much support you have is a big deal. The make for this was honestly the new job, working from home and having a job that's been incredibly do it, kind of hit, because I feel like I can genuinely be myself at work, and I have my friends at work who I've been making and everything like that treat me differently than I've been treated by women at work, mostly women, but treat me differently than how women have treated me at work. And I like that better, because that's how I just get along better with women anyways, which is just to not feel like I have to, I don't know, put on an act, I guess, to try and impress or anything like that, or to be, I don't know.
See, when he was doing it as well, this was early 2000s, so it was not
Probably
really
was
like
different, yeah.
spoke about, and it was, you know, where I supported him. You know, if he went round shopping and dressed up as a woman, I was always with him, and anyone giving funny looks, I'd just be like, fuck off, you know. So I supported him, but yeah.
I know one thing for me was, you know, I'm just so afraid of like, we call it clocking, is when people know that you're not the, you know, they suddenly know that you're, something's wrong and all that. We call it clocking. And that fear that's always there that you're going to be clocked and then something's going to happen because of that is something that the communities talk about a lot. The non-binary communities or the trans communities talking about is this idea that if you clock me, then, you know, you might clock me, you might hurt me, or you might say something, or you might become confrontational. And what I've found is that recently, because of this push for it, and because of, like you talked about earlier, this idea that we're finally listening to the victims, not the abusers. We're finally allowing ourselves to, and everywhere, and it's like, and because everyone's got a phone and can record what happened, and you have a group of people you go around with and everything like that. It's kind of like, hey, welcome to, you know, one thing I gotta say is when I go around completely full done, and I'm you know, I'm dressed in my Evelyn, I noticed it's like, well, that fear is how women feel all the time anyways. How have they felt forever, how they've always been. It's why they travel in groups, why they do all that. So I guess welcome to being a woman, right? That's the point.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's, and it shouldn't be that way. I'm not saying like, yay for me, I get to suffer with everyone. There's no suffering Olympics, but it's more like just understanding that from that perspective. Literally walking a mile in girl shoes has been able to look and go, yeah, that's a legitimate thing that women have had to deal with for a very, very long time. And I don't know. I
think that's why I'm glad I've always been kind of mouthy. So if ever like I'm walking across town on my own and I get crap off a bloke, I'm always just like, yeah, fuck off, dickhead, like, you know. It's like, I've always stuck up for myself.
Well, I appreciate it. I'll tell you what, I was gonna ask you. I'm like, I want to go out to England. We got to hang out at some point, because it is a dream of mine to be there. Like, I've been in long before even Doctor Who. Like I said, I've been an Anglophile for a long time, and I don't know how you feel about that. If that's like if that you feel that's
yeah.
That's like, I don't know. There's something I do love a lot of this, the stuff that in the country I live in, and I think there's a lot of great places to visit and everything. But I also really, really I would love to see. I'd love to see the world. Honestly, I'd love to just. I don't think you can be. I don't think you can. Be. When you've seen other cultures, when you've been other places, when you've just seen how beautiful and big this world is, and how versatile it is, and how much how different and how the same everyone is everywhere. You can't.
Yeah.
It's hard to hate people. It's hard to be negative. I don't know. I'm rambling.
See, my town as well, it's got a lot of history.
That's awesome.
Like with the castle, and we are like Old Mercia. So we've got a lot of like Saxon history and that kind of stuff.
What town are you particular are you in?
Tamworth.
Tamworth. Let's look that up.
So I'm in West Midlands. So have you heard of Birmingham?
Oh, nice.
So
I do know that one.
So Birmingham is the city, and we're the town. We're like the overspill from Birmingham. I was born in Birmingham.
Nice.
But like our town's quite pretty as well. We have this Britain in Britain in Bloom Awards, where they put like flowers everywhere, and the grounds of the castle, they have like loads of flowers, and you know, it's quite a pretty town. We've got like lots of fields and trees, and whereas like Birmingham's quite like a lot of flats and concrete, where we're more of like we've got a bit of countryside and stuff, so it's quite pretty.
That's awesome.
Lots of rivers and lakes, even though I stay away from rivers because I'm scared of masses of water, but they're pretty to look at, and then I'll just move on.
I can respect that.
But I nearly drowned when I was little, so subconsciously, like, masses of water scare me. I hate walking over bridges.
Okay, let's see. I think you? Yes.
Do you know what's weird as well? Doing makeup on camera, you have to like do everything like twice as dramatic.
I'm being a little
but you'll
more
know
bold.
That from stage, yeah.
I'm doing a little more bold than usual. I honestly am, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying not to overdo though, because I don't want to do like, I'm not, you know.
Like if I do a live, I don't like then going into town shopping because I've got like really prominent like contour and bronzing on and really thick like concealer where it looks good on camera. And if you don't put that amount on, it doesn't look good on camera, but then I don't like going shopping with that amount of makeup on because people must be looking at me going, what the hell? So, I don't know what colour lips to do. I have orange, blue and purple.
Well,
do stripes, but that might be overkill.
So my personal flag is the green, white, and purple, because within the pride flag, everyone has there's flags as well. So you have like all the different grays for asexual. You have all the different, you have purple. You have the purple, blue, and blue for different ones, and so
yeah. This looks blue on camera, but it's actually close. See the purple where our names are? It's actually close to that colour, but it looks blue.
Oh, that's pretty.
So what's good about the town? What do you call it? The town states there.
The what?
A town's called states there.
So our town, we still have towns, and then the state is, each of the states has towns and cities. And so our state, so I'm in the state of South Carolina, which is essentially which is part of our Bible Belt. But you know what? Honestly, coming out here, I will say, I was actually very surprised, and honestly, I think that media gives every kind of culture a bad rap, and I think that there are people who want to live one way in everywhere we go, and that's not anything different. And being JWs, you know that better than anyone. We're the cockroaches, not we, but JWs are the cockroaches of the earth, right? They can survive anywhere and they're everywhere, and they hide in the corners, so what I found is actually a lot of people that I ended up attaching to out here are incredibly wonderful. There's a lot of like theater folk out here because I joined the art center and did some shows here. I did Mamma Mia, which was a lot of fun, and And so I think, honestly, I think that, you know, I think that everywhere needs to be seen for each part of itself. Not that there's not these problems in different places, and not that they aren't cliches for a reason, but that you can't, that if we take away this idea that no, there's good people everywhere, we don't look for them, and we excuse the bad people. You know, we say no, that's just everywhere there is going to have problems, and they're all this way, they're all this one way. And then we remove this identity that no, everywhere has everywhere has good, everywhere has bad, everywhere has everything. That's just what humanity is like, you know. It's, you know, I don't know. And so yeah, coming out here, it was absolutely beautiful. I love everything about this place. And it's funny because I've discovered so many like stereotypes about where I lived. You know, before, you know, I had all these kids when I was working at the school. I would tell them I'm from California, and they had this picture in their head of Hollywood or Los Angeles or everything like that. And there's an image that we throw in our minds, and it's like yes and no. Yeah, there is some stereotypes you're absolutely right about. Our freeways are awful, and there's always traffic, and it's terrible and all that. But you know, there's a lot of different characters that live in every place I've ever seen, and I like that diversity.
To answer people's questions, it's NYX liquid suede, and it's actually like a tutti frutti Cadbury's purple. It looks blue here, but yeah, it's matte. But it stays on really well. I've literally, like, this is one of the ones that I've worn out, party till 6 o'clock in the morning, got up and it's still on. Not that I advise leaving your makeup on overnight, but I've done it quite often.
I will keep that note as well.
Some of the lipsticks I found, well, I prefer now like the liquid type, but some of them stay on that well that I have to take them off with coconut oil. Now I'm trying to get it level.
Hide my giant nose. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, it is vivid. I love it. It's one of them lipsticks that you go out, you know, people are going to look at it. But now it's made me feel really pale, so I need some more bronzer.
Okay. Amy, so the idea behind my names is that I don't mind either. But like I was talking about earlier, being clocked in public, I use Evelyn as a way to so that if I'm in public, I don't want to draw unnecessary attention to myself. And so, you know, I don't mind. I like both names. I think both names, I feel connected to both names. And when I am fully though in makeup and I'm out in public and I'm completely that, I don't want somebody to go, "Hey, Jack," and I literally won't turn around because I just don't want to. I don't want to then cause confrontation. I respect other people enough, as well, and their beliefs and what they want to do and how they feel about themselves, that I don't need to then force myself in public to change anybody's identity or to make them question or anything right now. I don't want to personally change the whole world. So I know I went on a whole rampage with that and everything, but basically that's the answer. I appreciate you asking though. So I don't know. I really identify with everything. So it's hard to like it's and there's specifically a term for it too. It's the binary nonconformist, and so it's kind of this idea of that I just, because of where I'm at, the note for me personally, and I'm not telling anyone else that they have to also throw out the binary down with it. It's nothing like that. I actually like it. There's a lot of beautiful things about the binary that is actually beautiful, and there's a lot of great things. Not gender reveal parties, obviously, because we start fires in this country with them. But I don't know if you guys heard about that in the UK, but
No.
there was a gender reveal party that literally they did in an area where there's forest fires, and they lit the entire western coast on fire with a gender reveal party because they wanted to blow up things with blue smoke and all this stuff for their gender reveal party. And I have a lot of issues with gender reveal parties anyways, because I think assignment at birth is damaging to the kid. It tells them they don't need to they don't get to decide what things they like. They're told what things they like. And I remember going to daycare and dressing dolls and doing all that, but I also I also played water polo in high school, so I played sports. I also there's a lot of different things we can do, and so things that we might call traditionally male or traditionally female, it's yeah, oh yeah, Courtney's in California. Yeah, they blew up California, and it was just, yeah, they started fires over there with a gender reveal party. But yeah, yes, I think that there's a lot that we give kids a disadvantage when we tell them that they need to behave a certain way or look a certain way or pick certain things. Because also, one thing that really bothers me with it is the sexualization of children. So when we talk about gender and sexuality, especially during our discussion, so I don't want to go too deep into it, but one of the biggest things is the idea that gender and sexuality are completely separate, and the only way to make them completely separate is to educate the idea that they are. Because as soon as we say, well, this child's gender or this child's identity is male because we saw their genitals, then we've already put them at a disadvantage. As opposed to, this child wants to do masculine things or anything like that, and we really should find different words for it, honestly. But since these are the words we have now, there's no point denying that those are the words we have right now. But this child wants to do traditionally masculine or traditionally feminine things. That's one thing, and so you can still create separations and say, okay, well, since you like that, would you also like this, or would you also like doing this thing? But then closing the door and saying, well, since you like that, you have to do those things. That's it. It creates the perpetuation of keeping women down, honestly. I saw an amazing post, just absolutely brilliant, and it kind of sums up everything, which is, in our culture, in history, we call a woman Miss, Mrs., or Miss, and we only call a man Mr., because a woman's identity is tied into the fact of whether or not she's married.
Yeah.
That's it. That's your whole identity. That's all you've ever been, is whether you're Miss, Mrs., or Miss. And yet we don't look at a man and go, are you married or not? We don't have Mr. and Monsieur, as if you're married or not. It doesn't matter if they are. Their identity already exists despite their gender. And so when we remove that identity as the gender, we can then open up the door to any gender doing anything and anybody doing anything. And then yeah. But anyways, I'm rambling again. But I know we'll talk more. But
it's an interesting ramble. So,
Appreciate that.
Jack, you ended up looking
Yes.
pretty. Definitely not like you were 3 downstairs.
Thank you.
So we are supposed to be starting a live at 3, but we did start this one a bit late. So please bear with us because I've got to go and set up in another room. So please bear with us if we're a few minutes late. Take some photos, Jack, because then I'll put them up on my Instagram.
Okay. Oh God, I hate taking pictures of myself. Here, let me just do it.
I've kind of like got my angles down now because I've done Instagram for ages now. So I'm kind of like I can do them in a few minutes. Where I used to take about 50 and then get about 3 that I like. So I'm just not photogenic at all.
I've got a line. So this is from Puerto Rico. I inherited this, and and I've got to like line my face up so it's like my nose just vanishes. It's gone.
I've got a decent sized nose, so yeah.
I appreciate it. I don't know. I'm always like, hi, how's it going?
But a lot of people like contour their noses. I'm just like, it's my nose at the end of the day. I'm not gonna contour it and to try and make it a different shape in pictures because then when you see me in real life, you're gonna go, I didn't know a nose looked like that. So it's just like
I appreciate it. All right, I'll take a couple. Where do you want me to post these?
If you send them to me, I'll put them up on. If you send them to me on Facebook Messenger, then I'll put them up on Instagram.
Sounds good. Let me do that real quick.
So, guys, we'll be back in a bit because we're going to swap streams now. So, join me for a chat with Jack about XJW stuff. So, we'll see you all in a bit. Well, if we're in the live now, Jack, we'll go backstage for a sec.
Okay.
Bye. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Appreciate it.